In the heart of feudal Japan, where mist coiled around mountain peaks and blood stained the earth with alarming regularity, there lived a warrior whose name inspired awe and dread, Miyamoto Musashi. A master of the blade, he was said to be undefeated in over 60 duels. But some whispered darker tales, that his strength came from something beyond mortal understanding. Rumors claimed that Musashi had studied forbidden sword styles, not passed down by masters, but whispered by ghosts, learned in haunted forests and on cursed battlegrounds. His downfall came not in battle, but in betrayal. Summoned to a mountaintop temple for an honorable duel by a respected rival, Musashi arrived alone, as tradition demanded. But instead of a single opponent, he was met by a circle of 7 masked monks, all armed and chanting in low, guttural tones. Realizing the trap, Musashi drew his swords and fought like a demon. He killed 5 of them before the 2 remaining monks completed their incantation, an ancient sealing ritual meant to bind his soul for eternity. The ground cracked open beneath him, glowing with cursed kanji, and Musashi was swallowed whole, alive, screaming, his swords clutched tight in his hands. Centuries passed. The temple fell into ruin, overtaken by moss and silence. Locals refused to go near it, claiming the wind near the site carried the sound of swords clashing. They called it Yurei no Yama, Ghost Mountain. In the present day, Asami, a university student and folklore researcher, stumbled upon an old scroll in her grandfather's attic. It spoke of a cursed warrior entombed in a lost temple. Intrigued, she gathered a camera, a lantern, and a journal and hiked into the mist-shrouded mountains. After a long and uneasy trek, she found the ruins, half sunken in the earth, covered in vines and forgotten prayers. Inside, a coldness wrapped around her like a second skin. She descended into what was once the temple's inner sanctum and found a slab of stone, split down the center. There, driven into the crack, were 2 ancient swords, rusted but still radiating a strange heat. Asami reached out and touched the hilt of one. The mountain trembled. A rush of wind blew out her lantern. A sound, metal dragging on stone, echoed from deep within, and then she saw them, footprints appearing in the dust before her, one step at a time. She turned and ran. That night, strange visions plagued her sleep. A battlefield under a blood moon, a masked warrior staring into her soul, the sound of steel slicing air. When she awoke, the sword was gone, but her hand still burned where she had touched it. One by one, people in her village began dying, sliced cleanly in half, heads removed with surgical precision. No signs of struggle, no tracks, just the echo of a blade in the wind. Desperate, Asami returned to the ruins, this time with her grandfather, a retired priest who recognized the tale at once. He told her the only way to stop Musashi's vengeful spirit was to complete the duel he was denied. She would have to face him, not with strength, but with honor. On the next full moon, she returned alone. He was waiting. Musashi stepped from the shadows, his form half spirit, half corpse, his armor fused with bone, his face hidden behind a cracked war mask. He raised his sword in a silent challenge. Asami bowed, trembling, and raised her wooden practice blade. The duel was brief. She was no warrior, but she stood her ground, refused to flee, and showed the courage of a true samurai. And in that moment, Musashi halted. For the first time in centuries, his burning eyes softened. He lowered his blade. A cold wind blew through the temple, lifting leaves and ashes into a whirlwind. The cursed symbols on the floor faded. Musashi's figure dissolved into mist, his swords falling to the earth with a metallic clang. The curse was broken. Asami collapsed, breathless, surrounded by silence. The temple was still once more. But as she turned to leave, she glanced back, and for a moment she saw him, standing among the trees, mask in hand, watching, waiting.